Hello everyone, this is Jess from J Rose Alchemic Art, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I thought we would be doing something a little bit different. I know I've teased it a while ago, but I finally had time to celebrate 500 subscribers on YouTube, so yay! So I thought, I have talked about it before, but I figured we would finally try to make a little clay cake to celebrate that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and we'll sculpt it together, maybe come up with a fun design idea and go from there. So let's go ahead and get started. Yes, I do kind of have like a general idea of the cake design that I want to do. So just a quick sketch of kind of a rough like idea of, I want the cake to be like two-tiered. Maybe have like some pumpkins, some little ghosts, maybe a tree in the background. So it's more not just the cake, but also kind of a fun experiment and more of a background art piece as well. Because if you can tell, as much as I like character design, I also really enjoy doing background art too. So I think that's fun to incorporate just little pieces of things that I've done in the past before and combine it all into one with this big cake. I think it'll still be a little bit smaller just because that's how I prefer to make my pieces, but we'll see how it goes. And then I do want to add in like a happy 500 on maybe either the cake or the platter, something like that, just so I want to make sure to incorporate that. Yay, we're happy for 500 subscribers, obviously. Little sparkles, and just, yeah, seeing what else we can add in. So that is at least the general idea, but we'll see what actually happens when everything starts getting sculpted. Yeah. So I wasn't sure how much of this video I should really talk over, but I guess if you're interested, feel free to sculpt or draw or do something creative along with me while I'm making this cake. But yes, I do want to say thank you again so much, everyone, for following along and for subscribing to my channel. If you have, I really do appreciate it, and hopefully you've been enjoying some of my videos lately. But yeah, I have Princey obviously there with me now, but first thing we're going to work on is actually the base of the cake. So just rolling everything out and smoothing all the edges and everything so it looks like a little bit of a round, like just a small cake. After we have the first little tier done, I did go ahead and start working on the next layer, which is really just like the purple frosting. So I went ahead and smoothed that out quite a bit before we actually placed it on the cake here. So once everything has been smoothed over, it's actually time to actually attach the frosting to the cake. So I did go ahead and place it on top of the layer of brown clay, and then I will actually be like smoothing out everything, making sure that it's adhered very well, and then actually cutting off some of the excess pieces here. So that's what I'll be doing next. So yes, as you can kind of see in the background, I've removed all those excess pieces of purple frosting, if you will, and it's looking a lot better now. And now I'm working on another piece of the cake, but as you can see, Princey is very interested in helping, clearly. So I have to kind of move him away sometimes, but you can tell that he wants attention, and hopefully you don't mind seeing him there in the background. But yes, now we're making just a slightly larger version of the original cake that we just made. So I'm just trying to check the width and everything and see like how much bigger I need to make it. So clearly I did need a little bit more clay here, so that's what I'll be adding in next. One thing I will say about sculpting with a cat right beside you, sometimes you have to be good at multitasking. So I am giving Prince head scratches with one hand and then trying to sculpt with the other, but eventually I had to kind of give up, and he moved on briefly for a moment but then returned like a minute later or so. But yes, second layer of the cake is just about done. I'm just kind of doing the same thing as the first, just making sure everything fits appropriately, and then I'll cut off some of the excess pieces of the frosting. Okay, and now that we have smoothed everything out, I'm just going to go ahead and add the two layers together, and it's looking a lot more better. That does not make sense. It looks a lot better. Wow, I might be a little tired, but that's okay. So next time I am going to work on trying to make a little pumpkin for the top, like the cake topper essentially, and his stem will probably be like the actual candle. So now it's just a matter of like trying to get the details right with making the engravings into to make it look more like a pumpkin. So let's work on that. After that, it is time to add some little details to the face of the pumpkin. So I am adding some small indents to actually add in like eyes and a mouth and some little cheeks as well for our little pumpkin friend. So I'm going to work on that next. And I actually wanted to try out something a little bit different, so I ended up rolling out basically like a line of clay and made it into a little smile for our pumpkin friend. So I think that it looks pretty cute, honestly. After that though, it is time to add in some little cheeks, so we add a little bit of pink clay for the blush. And yeah, our little pumpkin friend's face is looking pretty darn cute if I do say so myself. After that, we make a small indentation into the top of our pumpkin friend, and that's where I'm actually going to add in. I made it into a black candle just because I felt like it would look a little weird to have a brown candle. I guess it really doesn't matter, but to me that seemed what it looked better. So I end up making a black candle essentially, and then using a little bit of a glow-in-the-dark clay to make essentially like the actual flame of it. So even when it's in the dark, it'll glow in the dark. So I just thought that was just a fun little detail to add to our little cake here. So now I wanted to work on like a spiral effect for the frosting of the cake. I really wasn't quite sure how thin to roll everything though, so when I was actually trying to combine everything here, it didn't work out the first time. But I ended up figuring out a way that worked well, and we'll kind of see that here in like a couple minutes. But here is our final little cake design, so now it's time to start working on the actual plate of the cake. So I decided I wanted to make a black cake platter initially, and then I was going to add in like some white detailing with either a Posca marker or you'll see I actually use a little white colored pen here in a little bit, but we'll get started on the plate first. After that, I decided to add in a little tree, so I'm just making out like a small little brown tree that doesn't have any leaves and forming some of the branches with that as well. So I roll the pieces of brown clay and then kind of tear off at the ends to make it look more like the end of a branch. So smoothing everything together, hopefully it should look a little bit more like a forgotten tree perhaps. So now that the actual tree is done, I ended up making some little pumpkins as well, so I ended up making some fun little stems for them and just kind of rolling this brown piece of clay together and then kind of twisting it, kind of the same effect that I did with the frosting actually. And then that is going to be like our little spiral stem for our pumpkin friend. So after we place that on both sides of the plate, I ended up also sculpting a little gravestone, and that is also going to go on the back side of the plate. So honestly, I think that everything looks a little wobbly right now because obviously it's not been baked yet, but I think that it looks pretty cute so far actually. So now that we have all the detailing done, it's time to go bake it in the oven. Oh, it's so cute. I love how this turned out, honestly. It still needs to, I literally like just got it out of the oven, so I probably should not be touching the pan. But yeah, the little ghosty, the pumpkins turned out really fun. And actually, like, I was a little worried with the frosting color. I didn't know if it was going to be like, I don't know, too light when I was going to, you know, how it came out originally. But now that it's been baked, I think it looks a lot better. And we have a little haunted tree in the back. Obviously the little candle is actually like the stem of the pumpkin, and it is made out of glow-in-the-dark clay, so that's going to be really fun, I think, at nighttime. But yeah, we're going to let it cool for a bit, and then gonna, I think, I might draw in like happy 500 subscribers or something, something fun like that. So yeah, I think that it's really cute right now, but we'll let it cool off for a bit and then probably work on, you know, adding more details in the morning. So now that our cake is all done baking and it's, I let it sit out overnight actually to kind of dry. But now it's time to add in a couple details. I ended up using this Sakura Decorese little white marker pen. Technically it's not a marker, but it's a pen. To add in like these little sparkles to the cakes. And I'm going to add a couple more details, but just so you get a general idea. And as you can see in the background, I have my best assistant, Prince, in the, you know, around the corner at least. So he's making sure that all the detail work is going okay. But I tried to end up doing this Happy 500 on the platter, and it didn't quite turn out the best, so I ended up going in separately without, I didn't film this part of it, but I did end up going back in with like a Posca marker and kind of drawing that back in, so it looks a little bit cleaner. I also ended up adding in some little stars and sparkles to the rest of the platter, so now all that's really left is to just glaze it. So yeah, ultimately, I think that this was a really fun project, and I'm glad I got to try just like a bunch of different techniques between sculpting pumpkins, a mini tree, the gravestone, the ghost, all of that, as well as like making a cake with some fun little design elements. So I really had a good time with this one actually, and I'm hoping I can make more little cakes like this in the future. Let me know if you're interested in seeing more of those. I realize that this video has not been like some of my previous uploads recently, where they've been more life updates in a week in my life, but I enjoyed talking over like the process and sharing some of my, you know, skills and tips and tricks for sculpting this little clay Halloween cake. So hopefully you still enjoyed it and you'll look forward to more videos here soon. And here is the final look. I think that our little pumpkin Halloween cake is looking really fun and cute. I really enjoyed like coming up with the design and actually putting it together by myself. So I hope that you guys have kind of enjoyed seeing this. And once again, thank you so much for over 500 subscribers now on YouTube. Hopefully we can continue this art journey together and look forward to lots of new things in the future. But I think that this will be a fun little addition to the office, for sure. That is actually all that I have for today, friends. I hope that you enjoyed this one where we got to celebrate a little bit and work on a project together for sculpting this fun little Halloween cake. And again, thank you so much for 500 subscribers here on YouTube. I hope that you guys continue to enjoy my art and my journey as I continue to make lots of new things, experiment with my small business, and just continue to grow as a person. But until the next time, I hope that you all have a wonderful day.